So I've been playing Front Mission 3. There's very few games that manage to set such an incredible tone, a message, if you will, with just the title screen alone. Also setting the tone is the story about this really angry Japanese boy called Kazuki shooting his nips off at a bunch of robots with German names because the eerily nationalistic Japanese government is holding secret nuke parties creating craters that make the boy mad. Squirting his nips so hard that he straight shots his boy Ryogo in the face with his man milk, thus pissing him off too. And so they cop out and peace out and steal a bunch of mechs while killing everyone in their way. Remember kids, it's okay to commit felonies when your government's an inept and corrupt piece of shit. Wow! Naturally, they hook up with some Russians cause you can't really get political without them getting involved these days. Though Kazuki wouldn't be Kazuki if he also wouldn't balance out his very angry AVI by standing neatly in place, awaiting his turn only to move like 3 inches, and then let the bad guys move like 3 inches. And then he shoots like a single missile, but then it misses for some reason, and then the other bad guys gang up on you, and then Ryogo just fucking stands there sucking his own dick, you motherfucker! So yeah, it's a tactical RPG. You know, the kind with the grids and the menus and the visual novel cutscenes and the absurd complexities and really lengthy battles that make me rock hard, brother. Like, seriously, this is a game where literally every single body part of your mech counts as more or less its own unit, with stats, HP, skills, and customization and replacement options all to their own. We might not be exactly armored core tier here, but to say that we ain't far off either would be understating it. Structurally though, the game is pretty straightforward at least. You get the missions, then loot, win, and move on to get some story and then more than likely some type of mechanic sequence where you can do said upgrading and replacing with the money points earned in battle. Well, given that the story allows for it at least, cause yeah, Kazuki and Ryogo and friends go on quite the worldly adventure, as is portrayed by these adorable little PS1 map screens every single time. God damn, that shit cute. Being that this is a game about war with people in big robots, there's a few interesting, technically tactical and thematically appropriate elements that make the combat really quite special. For one, those tiny little dudes and gals inside can pussy out and jump out or even surrender if you lay on the flank a bunch. The benefits of this being that not killing them lets you ransack their shit for shit, allowing you to pawn off said shit. Cause there ain't much use in selling a broken toy, is there? Secondly, if someone does eject, they can take the opportunity to run away or pilot a yet unmanned robo. However, of course, humans is squishy, thus making it a big gamble to say the least. What's most interesting here though is how the personalities of those in control play into this. Psycho Boy, for example, will more than likely lose his shit and come at you fast, making him not only a priority to take out, but also a very unlikely surrenderer. But then, this guy over here is much more reserved and calculated, only acting out in an outwardly offensive manner when prompted to, yet is also much more prone to give up if his teammates are in a clear pickle. And so that's where most of the overall tactics come from in terms of who you'd want to go for. Morales and personalities, war with robots yet oddly humanized, themes and gameplay and stuff. Insightful critique. When you do get up close and personal though, it becomes a game of percentages, body parts, and likelihoods of certain shits triggering, all of which are revolving around the statistic called AP. It decides how many steps you can take in one turn as you see it counting down as you walk, and how probable you are to fire off multiple shots or engage in special moves when attack or counter when attacked, based on how much you had left after walk at least. One stat to rule them all. Easy, overseeable, beginner-friendly, good, and other such buzzwords that honestly make Front Mission 3 quite the dream to play. See, a lot of the game's systems here are more or less automated and based solely on AP, your position regarding target and whether or not if something is in the way. You won't be doing any number crunching or math, pretty much. Which body part you'll attack isn't something you get to choose in menu, it just comes down to real-world logic. Like, if shotgun at point blank, you're bound to hit a bit of everything, but in case of big punch, you're going to do loads of damage, but only to one chance-based limb. Though that isn't to say that there aren't any tactics present here at all. Taking out one's legs, for instance, will cripple a dude and destroying their arms will render them useless, thus forcing a surrender more easily. It's just that overall, I'd say that it's less of a game about careful tactical deliberation and more about all-out metal-crushing, dick-smashing, tank-exploding war. There's something stupefyingly satisfying about how shit dies here. HPs start running low, showing sparks of desperation as mechs slow down and movements become jankier. Just barely being able to make your way on over there, having just survived a near-fatal barrage of missiles, and then landing the final lucky blow as you physically feel, hear, and see the metal-on-metal, full-on mech porn at display. Graciously smashing the absolute dickfuck out of these hunk junks. It is genuinely... Overall, while it is a tactical RPG for sure, it seems to incentivize more offensive play. Not so much being a thinking man's game, I guess, as it is a how many missiles can I fire at this fuck in the shortest amount of time kind of game. Damage numbers are high, movement tiles cover acres, and missile ranges and shotgun spreads are huge as well, resulting in fights where taking out the strongest dudes and dogpiling in general become the #1 strategy. Even the menus accommodate for this, not starting you off with a list of options, but immediately opening up on the movement tiles and seamlessly transitioning to gunfuck upon arrival. There's no need to weasel your way through big lists of spells. Nay! All you really need to do is simply press square button before attack to switch weapons and let go to fuck them up proper. And hey, even stats and upgrades are streamlined for Big Dick. Having high HP, for example, will also mean that you do more damage, essentially turning HP into the catch-all caveman stat. Plus, the game is also fully linear, so there won't be any grinding or non-story battles, and the body parts that'll be available to you and the levels that you will be at will also be more carefully decided by the game's structure in an RE1 item placement type of way. And I mean, yeah, sure, it's all there, don't get me wrong. There's various weapon types like shotguns, machine guns, shields, missile launchers, and a plethora of melee weapons, all of which having various class types like being prone to pierce armor or being flamey. And of course, the body parts themselves will have stats too, like durability, defense, and weight, which will affect speed, thus keeping you from equipping like 5 flamethrowers. But really, you don't need to know what all of these numbers and percentages mean to be able to play the game effectively. Every part will be categorized as such, with its own replacement and upgrades making the menus really overseeable. And when shit's better, you will also always see big green arrows indicating that, well, shit must be good. And besides, it's fun to fuck around on the upgrade screen full of full 30 minutes tweaking shit to near perfection regardless of how deep shit go. And also, as I said, you can't just waltz into a shop with new stock whenever the hell you want to, as instead, the story decides who, what, where, and when, and story is space good, so automatically, game good also. I am review. Every level is its own challenge, which is nuts considering how many of them there are. One will have a searchlight weakening the units within its reach, another will be set within a big, crowded city with many tiny hard-to-navigate alleyways, another within a small garden filled with dudes who can one-hit kill you. Then there's a stage with a controllable lift, another in a forest with trees getting in your way, or a level with big one-shot guns stuck on rails, forcing you to stay behind cover of some kind to avoid getting hit. No stage hazards or gimmicks will ever be reused, by the way, and in the rare case that one will, it will be within a different context where shit'll be built upon, which is cool. And it also allows the game to not be as dick-crushingly hard as, say, Final Fantasy Tic Tacs or that one Fire Emblem game for the GameCube. It's not an easy game either, mind you, but as I said, it's more about giving you varied, cathartic, and quick experiences. I really only died like 5 or so times. It's not an all-or-nothing type of game. Your HP and everything else will always replenish after battle, and there's also no perma-fuck long-term consequences that people pretend to like but no one really does. Don't lie to me. You totally reload your save when your XCOM dudes die. You fucking cheat. The only place where the game kinda fucks you is with the fights where you're forced into shitty situations character-wise, like this one, where they made me use my underleveled B team, or the fair few levels where you play without mechs. Both of these are admittedly just as cool as all the other stage hazards and gimmicks, but when you aren't prepared, it can require a lot more technical prowess than the rest of the game does. Though I still managed to make my way through, and thus so can you, as this is where the surrender stuff really tends to shine. I sadly don't have the footage because I died like 3 times and wasn't going to end up with an hour's worth of footage of a single fight, but I managed to win the B-team battle by coaxing a much stronger enemy pilot out of his mech, stomping him and then having my weakest guy eject himself from his so that he could hijack the enemy mech. I felt like a fucking genius doing that, turning a frustrate into a masturbate. Really, the only major downside that Front 3 has gameplay-wise is its reliance on Square's trademark frame rates, long-winded attacks, and the fact that the enemies can be weirdly non-aggressive, often waiting out multiple rounds in place, never taking higher grounds to do big body damage, or attacking Ryogo despite his near damage nullifying shield time and time again. But other than that, shit's about as sexual as it gets. Oh man, the story. It's good, it's big, and far more detailed than it really had any right to be. It starts us off with an infomercial of all things, giving us some deets about the setting and the tone going forward. Corporate, fake smiles, telling you big plans, also internet. At pretty much any point in the game, you can access PC to read about the goings-on of this world, like construction plans for any city you might visit, news about politics, big hacks or sites that look appropriately sketchy, news on entertainment and things to do in town, interviews with people whom you might never meet. It's just fucking insane. One could easily spend entire days in here, optional days just as well, though I would recommend at least checking your inbox to gain a larger understanding of our main cast, who just so happen to be a pretty fun gang too. Not the deepest crew per se, I wasn't shedding any tears or feeling fears at any point, but all of the people who Ryogo, Kazuki, and our Russian friend Emma end up bumping into are legit funny in that cheeky macho banter type of way. Kazuki will be all, I must protect everyone, and then Ryogo will be all like, hey baby, let's make sex fuck. And then Emma be all like, am I really doing the right thing? And then my man Dennis makes this face, and somehow I knew everything was going to be okay. I know I'm not exactly treading into deep anal cyst territory here, but that's also mostly because a lot of it just is funny banter. There's drama for sure, but it's drama of the "What? I thought you were my brother! No, I was your sister all along. Also, I'm a cyborg now, and a spy. A spyborg!" Metal Gear Solid variety, which works, and as I said, you do get some deeper layers through emails, and plenty of people also die, making for big hokey and many a jerk. But it still remains thoroughly on popcorn level. Which, to be honest, is just so happen where I prefer it to be just as well. While wading through the miles of web space, one might stumble across some rare social commentary about how the rebels need to be subdued and how certain countries have travel warnings. An infomercial or a happy little tourist ad may very well be a front for propaganda. Friendships may be spy ships, and your secret email dick pills Nigerian prince admirers might just be crying out for help. And so you and the gang will travel the world, smashing the closed-minded barriers of nation-led news cycles, slowly seeing other countries, cultures, and conflicts for what they truly are. Banding together with rebels, black market mech salesmen, back alley hackers, and some dude trying to sell you some farming equipment. All the while, all of it's all linked together through what has to be the largest library of map screens known to man. That man being me, because I had never seen shit like this before. There's transitions for when global travel, while travel within country, within city, and within building. 3D models, assets, and pre-renders flowing like wine, pretty much. And sure, you might not have any proper exploration a la Final Fantasy, which actually is kind of sorely missed due to it not allowing for adventure gaming distractions, but I don't think they actually skimped out here. This isn't a budget thing, it's a creative choice, as it really feels like you are traveling the world when your journey is laid out this clearly, giving you a sense of place, scale, and overall awareness of how global a world war be. One moment you're in Australia saving some hostage scientists, and the next you're in a dingy rat-ridden city somewhere in China getting drunk off cheap beer and mosquito bites. Yeah, a lot of it is just background and text, but for one, these portraits emote quite a lot, and for two, the amount of in-game in-engine PS1 cutscenes what this game has is fucking sickening. Kicking off and bookending literally every fight, all the while looking adorable as fuck. I mean, in an attempt to create what I assume is skill, they actually made the game look like one giant low-poly Warhammer table. And I fucking love that. It's one big, expensive frame for one big, expansive story. And so, I can only be led to one single conclusion. That this game is great. It just has too many, oh my god, that shit was hype moments. From the opening FMV, the fucking font choices and menu designs, to all of the times where you unlock a new skill or just attack in general with the camera going all whoosh, and then big robots charging up all like, and then like, and then big story happens with first-person viewpoints and like cool as fuck UIs and this fucking boot-up sequence coming at you all like...
Stand by.
And at that point, there was just cum. Cum fucking everywhere. And it keeps up the pace too. The entire thing is like one big vertical slice for the entire thing. New areas every 5 minutes, large-scale battles and new skills every 10 minutes, new characters and dramatic reveals every 30 minutes, it just keeps going. There's even like this whole separate harder campaign where you play on the opposite government fucktoy side of the fight. Front Mission 3 is just rock hard content. So yeah, shit's amazing. Play it, bitch! And treat it with the respect that Square treated it with by not releasing any of its sequels outside of Japan, leaving the series dead in the water for a good 5 years. Only to then of course spawn off the IP to double helix, resulting in a cheeky sequel hook for next week's video. All about Japan's weird Western-driven dry spell. Goodbye, baby. Mwah.